Moving on, movie number two today, we have Maleficent, the
Maleficent.
Mistress of Evil. This is the sequel, the second Maleficent movie. This
It's a very
movie did
misleading
something.
title, I think.
Yeah, a little bit. This movie did something to me that very few movies have been able to do for a long time, and that is I actually thought that this movie, as a sequel,
Yep,
was better than the
yep. I
original.
told you. I
Um,
told you that. It's
yeah, you did. When we were talking about picking this movie, you were like, "Well, we could watch the Maleficent. Maleficent is on Disney Plus, and we wanted a good movie from Disney Plus." And I had seen the first one,
mhm.
didn't love the first
I
one,
didn't either.
really didn't even
Yeah.
like the first one to be honest. And
No.
so I was like, "Okay, this is a big movie. Let's see." And to my surprise, I came away liking it. I came
Yeah.
away liking it more than I liked the first one.
I
So,
don't. Is it the same
big.
director? Did you see? I didn't.
I don't know. Let me look it up. Let me look it up.
But
So the director for this one
it's funny that you say
was
that though. That
was
you didn't like the
Joachim
first one.
Roning, and I
With
don't know Joachim Roning. I don't know if
okay.
Roning did the first one too. Let me check. But yeah, what'd you think of? So what'd you think of Maleficent? Because I was amazed. I saw myself struggling to even get through this, but actually, I kind of liked it. I kind
Yeah.
of liked it more than I thought
Yeah.
I would.
And you're right. I actually did not like the first one at all, to the point where I forgot most of the plot of the first one. I had to ask Miranda a lot of questions about it. Um,
Different director. Different
Different director.
director.
See,
Yeah, the first one was directed by
and
Robert Stromberg.
that's kind of what I figured,
Yeah.
because the movie itself felt more magical, felt more epic. I think the acting was stronger, the world building was stronger, everything was just stronger in this movie.
Yeah, just the
Um,
plot.
yeah, absolutely. The first one felt like they were trying too hard to try and equate the old, like Sleeping Beauty to this new storyline. It just felt like they were trying too hard. Whereas, and I think the having the first movie kind of works in the benefit for the sequel, because they didn't have to build off of the Sleeping Beauty movie. They just built off of Maleficent, and so they were able to build something better. Um,
Yeah, do their own thing more.
exactly. And so I actually, it took me about 20 minutes to get into it. The first 20 minutes, I was kind of like, this is exactly like the old Maleficent. It's just some witch in the woods who's just brooding, and they're trying to force us to like her. But once the story actually started kicking off, and I kind of just turned my brain off, I actually didn't hate the movie. And then when you get towards the end into the climax, that was awesome. I thought the climax was awesome, seeing them all like flying, and the big battle and everything. That was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, man, that was like some two tower shit going
Yeah.
on. They had
Yeah.
those.
So
So okay,
yeah,
is she like is she a witch or is she a fairy?
I'm pretty sure she's a type of fairy. I think.
I think so too, because when
Yeah.
they were doing the Toon Bloom things, they were like testing it on fairies
Right.
and her
Yeah.
pixies. It's look, man, we're trying here. We're trying here. Fairies, pixies, I don't know, but
Yeah.
yeah, dude, that was like the Battle of Helm's Deep at the end. They had those witches flying in. They're shooting the Toon Bloom dust at them. That was
If
pretty.
there
That was
is
good.
if there is any way to get a man involved in a movie, just put a siege sequence in,
That's
and
it.
you're good. Like,
That's it.
but yeah, and I thought it was really cool when she was seeing her people for the first time too. When you saw all the different although English, all the different types of wings that they had, the different colors, and I thought that was awesome. It showed that there is an actual civilization and a culture behind who and what she is, and it's not just some all-powerful witch. Like it gave her a little more depth, and I think that might be one of the reasons that we liked the movie a little more.
Yeah, maybe when this one started out, you're looking at Aurora. You're looking at Aurora in the woods, and it kind of had the same. I immediately had the same problem with this one that I did with the other one, where it's like you almost want to vomit because there's so much CGI being thrown at
Dude,
you, and it's like
yes,
so
yes.
forcefully happy. Like they're trying to force happiness on you so hard. Like you
Mhm.
got these little pixies flying around, and they're like looking at you
Yeah,
through the
and
drops
the
of dew, and I'm
waterfalling, and
like,
like, yeah.
oh Jesus Christ! Yeah, I'm like, here we go. This is gonna be long,
Yeah, and
but
that's literally the exact same reaction I had too, where I kind of looked over at Miranda and I was like, "Why are we watching this?"
yeah, I was like, this might not be good.
Yeah,
But dude, like, they go away from that a lot. They go
yeah,
away from that a lot. The main characters in this movie are all people. They're
hmm
all people. It's not like there's really like one big CGI person that comes in and you're kind of forced to watch him the whole time. The closest thing is, and forgive me, like I'm not like super familiar with the canon, but the Raven, the guy who can like turn into the Raven
Yeah,
or
I
the
forgot his
Crow.
name too.
Yeah, hey. But it's for the most part not too in your face with the
Hmm.
CGI. The beginning part is a little rough, but then again, they're not targeting this movie at like some super masculine audience or anything. They're
Right.
targeting it for the people that, not that this movie's not for men or whatever, but they're targeting this movie for people
It's
that really like the story
and
of
it's a
Sleeping
kids
Beauty,
movie,
and
when it
it
comes
is,
down
it
to it.
is, it is a kids movie. It's a little dark, so maybe like I don't know, preteen movie,
Yeah.
like angsty kid movie. That's fine, but they get away from the CGI overload a little bit,
I
which
mean,
was
yeah,
nice.
they're killing fairies like halfway through the movie. Like the little ones, like when they're stuck in the jars. I was like, what are you like? This is really dark. This is crazy.
This movie to me had a very Harry Potter vibe, like halfway through, and I kind of liked that. It had a very Harry Potter, and then almost like you said with the siege, like almost Lord of the Rings, which is a
Hmm.
stretch. Come on, but the like
You
just the
can't
way that
compare
they're
at
like
all.
charging the wall and with the catapults and all, it's cool. But just I guess Lord of the Rings, I don't know, we can't even talk about that in the same sentence, but just in the sense that like the siege scene was cool. But Angelina Jolie to me might be a demon in real life.
I'm pretty sure
I'm not sure,
she's
dude.
ageless.
How many words does she even say in this movie? Not many.
I counted actually 23.
Oh, good, good. She has 14 minutes and 3 seconds of dialogue.
Right.
Yeah, I don't, she's. What else has she been in recently? This is the only time I've seen Angelina Jolie in it feels like in a long time.
I feel like the last thing she was in was Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I honestly have no idea.
She was in that movie Salt, but I don't really know if that was
Yeah,
like after. I don't
and
remember. That was
Wanted.
so long ago. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, she hasn't
that's
done
true.
anything for a while. She's been doing a lot of activism, and
Fair enough.
going through the divorce and everything. I feel like her
That's right.
attention hasn't been on acting. Um,
That's true. What do you think as her for her as the character of Maleficent? You
so
think she plays that role well?
I know that the world is in love with her, and I know that every man thinks that she is an angel and in disguise. She's beautiful. I'm sure she has her good aspects. Of like she's I don't think that she's the type of person that is doing activism to try and get attention. I think she legitimately believes in what she's doing. So I'll give her that, but I don't think that she is that strong of an actress. I think she plays a lot of the same characters in that she's really just playing herself as just this quiet, pretty person, and for whatever reason it worked for her in Maleficent, but I don't feel that it's not because she is doing a good job at acting. It's because she's playing herself and this role just happens to fit her. And so I guess to answer your question, I think she did a good job in it, but it's not because she's a great actress. I think that it's more of, I don't know. I feel like that sounds like terrible to say, but I've just never been a huge fan of her.
Well,
I
she's not exactly showing a lot of range in these
and
movies.
that's what
You know
I'm
what I
trying to
mean?
say.
Like she's not. And again, like you said, I think they picked her, or that it works for her in this because Maleficent is not supposed to have show a great deal of emotion or
Right.
really have much range. She's supposed to be kind of evil, but dude, like we're big Disney fans. We go
Mm-hmm.
to the parks a lot. We watch a lot of the content. I feel like the cartoon version of Maleficent has a little more
Yeah.
character than the Jolie Maleficent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And maybe that's
She's
because she's
pretty
evil.
stiff.
You
It's
know,
because she's evil, and I feel like it's also because, like, dude, she's wearing like 15 pounds of makeup in these movies. She's
that's
got these
true.
giant horn things on her head. She's got like toting around something, I'm sure, to do the CGI for these wings. I don't think she can like move her face around that much during this movie without the special effects people freaking out and coming in. She was wearing like a necklace, like a bird skull necklace
Yeah,
that
that's
looked
right.
like
Yeah.
it would fall apart if you touched it wrong. So I don't think there was a lot of options for her to show a ton of range
Hmm.
in this movie. But like you
But
said, I think that's just kind of who she is.
it's funny because I feel like the part in the movie when I connected with her the most was when you see her in that like cocoon thing. Um,
Yeah, when she
like
like made the vines grow up around him.
yeah, and you see her and like her hair is down, and like for the first time you're seeing her as a actual person, and not just like the Maleficent that they want you to see. We're seeing an
Right.
actual person with emotions, somebody who has faults, who is damaged and fragile. And I think that is the moment when I connected the most. And I think that's probably the point in the film when I actually started to like the movie, was when we started seeing more of the actual history of these people and seeing her, have a family, for better, or for lack of a better word. And so, yeah, I mean, I guess she did a good job in this, and I think that they did a good job in making a sequel that was better than the original. Um, you know,
Yeah.
Again, overall entertaining. The CGI is good, if you're not gonna think about it too much, because it is a film that's intended for kids. Um, but if you can turn your brain off, then it's pretty easy to get sucked into it and feel immersed in the world, because it I feel like the story kind of picks up pretty quickly. The pacing is done well, and I think that has a lot to do with the directing.
Yeah, I liked where they went with the actual story on this one. It was more interesting. It was a little darker. Like I said, I got some serious Harry Potter vibes when
Mm-hmm.
the little pixie guy was like making the weapons in the
Yeah.
the cellar, and it was kind of dark. And just the overall story for this one was interesting. Angelina Jolie is definitely stiff,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if that's a result of the crazy outfits that they have her wearing, but I don't think she bends more than like 10 degrees in any direction throughout
Yeah.
this whole movie. She's basically either standing up straight and just scowling at you, or she's flying, in which case she's just like attached to some ropes, probably in some studio, and is also straight. So, Angelina Jolie, you heard it here first. She does not have a waist. Hip bones have been taken away and sold
That's
for
the
charity.
real
So,
conspiracy.
breaking news: Angelina Jolie has no hips. But I liked the movie, and amazingly enough, I liked it more than the first one,
Yeah.
which okay is not super hard to do because I did not like the first one. But for me to come into this movie as a sequel and like it better, I thought that was pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
So props to the director and props to the actors. I liked it. I thought
And
Aurora and Philip
the
were convincing.
also the makeup for the other guy at I can't remember what they're called, the actual like fairy that they are. Um,
Yeah, yeah, they did look cool. You're right. They
but like
did
the
look
guy
cool.
with like the hair and the really cool eyes, like I'll put a
The
picture of
guy who
him
had
right
like the
here.
cracked face.
This is a picture of him, and this is who I'm talking about.
They actually asked me if they could transpose a lot of those people's heads onto my body.
Yeah, that's true.
The more muscular ones, they
Mm-hmm.
needed somebody who looked the part. And I told them they could do it, but we're gonna have to review the movie on the podcast.
Right, and
So
actually, all of
small,
the money that he made actually funded all of this. It's all funded thanks to
yeah,
Daniel's body.
exactly. So Critic and the Common Man is brought to you by
Maleficent.
Angelina Jolie's hips that were sold at auction. But yeah, I like this one. I thought this was a good movie. The story was a lot better than the first one. If you've seen the first one and maybe you're on the edge of watching this one, or your kids want to watch it, or whoever, you're a Disney fan but you didn't love it, give it a shot, because if you can get past the first 2 minutes of all the like fairies and little toad
Yes,
things screaming at you,
so
then
many
you're pretty
fairies.
much good. You're pretty much good for the rest of the movie. But I liked it.
Yeah.
Better story, better acting. Like you said, they were able to pull away from the canon a little bit and make it their own. So good for them. Rotten Tomatoes actually pretty friendly to this one. The audience was, the critics were not. So this one received a 40% critic score, which I think is a little harsh,
It is, I think so
and a
too.
95% audience score. So that's phenomenal. Again, it's Rotten Tomatoes.
True.
So we'll give you the authentic review here. So Chris, what do you think of this one, Maleficent, the Mistress of
So
Evil?
now that we've confirmed that it was a different director, it makes sense. I think the cinematography was really strong in this. Whoever was the director of photography for this movie really elevated it. Um, Again, the scene when she's in the cocoon was just really beautiful. Um, it's, I mean, yeah, just everything about this movie just kind of took a step up. Um, the writing I felt was a little stronger. You kind of liked the characters a little more. You liked her a lot more. Um, I didn't really care so much about the love story that they were trying to force down our throats, between Aurora and her man. But
Philip?
Philip, yeah. Um,
It's Prince Philip, dude. Come
yeah,
on.
I mean, I know that, but I don't know if they were trying to go for like a different, like, we're going to change it up from the original, because they've been doing that
He's
a
a
lot.
hunk, dude. He's a hunk.
But yeah, I feel like as a kids movie, as a Disney movie, I feel like I'm stuck somewhere between a 7 and an 8. I think it was entertaining. The climax felt rewarding. in that we got to see some actual emotion and some justice for like I mean there was a scene where these creatures were locked in a church and were being just like gassed to death. Like that was
Yeah,
really dark, man. That was really
like
dark.
damn, it's a kids movie, man.
Yeah, and so I mean, I was watching this and my mouth dropped. I was like, "Wow, this is some really dark moments." So there is some aspects to it that, as an adult, you can connect with and feel that level of emotion that I feel that Disney kind of does a good job of, having the magic with that darkness and mingling the two. So I think this movie did a very good job with that. So I think somewhere between a 7 and an 8, only because it's a kids movie. If I was comparing this to like another movie, like an Academy Award winning movie, this the score would be way lower. As a kids movie, as a Disney movie, I'd say 7.5. We'll go for 7.5.
All right, there you go. 7.5, 75%. That pretty much um, falls kind of right in the middle of the critic and the audience score here, a little high. But yeah, I'm with you. Liked it better than the first one, which I had no expectation that I
Yeah,
would. If you're a little more, this one, like I've said already, it feels a little more Harry Potter and a little less Disney cash grab. Which, speaking of, this one definitely does still feel a little bit like kind of a lot of these new remakes do. It does sort of feel like,
absolutely. Even the
is
CGI
anybody
looks like the
really,
other ones.
right? Is anybody really asking for a Maleficent sequel? Probably not. Are they going to make another one? Probably. And that one, Angelina Jolie won't move her arms. It'll be
She won't
it'll
even
be
have
an event,
arms.
but she won't even have them. They'll just CGI them in.
They're gonna
I
pay for the
guess
next camera setup for us.
yeah, that's how they're going to fund it after the coronavirus. That's how Disney's funding their movies from now on. Angelina Jolie is giving away joints. But yeah, Jesus, I like this one more than the first one, which I did not think I was going to. So props to the new director. The acting was strong, and it feels a little darker, a lot more Harry Potter, and a lot less just kind of cheesy Disney, I guess. So good for them. As a kids movie, I'd give it a 7. Even as a kids movie, I don't think it was phenomenal, but
Yeah,
it was better. And just kind of in every other way, just as somebody who's watching this movie, I'd probably give it a 6. Um,
right. And yeah, and
Everybody
yeah,
was a little
I
stiff.
agree.
And I guess like, I can't have it both ways. I'm always harping about how there's too much CGI in movies, but probably the only way they could have had Angelina Jolie be more like had more character and whatnot, they probably would have had to CGI her costume. So there you go. You can't
And
have
her
it both
hips.
ways. But I'll give it a 6. I'll give this one a 6. If you saw the first one and you liked it, then definitely watch this one
Yeah,
because it's better. If you saw the first one and you didn't like it, um, go into this one a little open-minded
yeah,
because it was better. It was better. So yeah, that's it. So a 6 and a 7.5 from the critic and the common
yeah.
man. You got anything else?
No, I mean, just cinematography I think was pretty pretty good. I feel like whoever was the director of photography probably has a big future ahead of them.
Yeah, big props from the critic. That's it. That was the critic and the common man review of Maleficent. So if you haven't seen it, that one's on Disney Plus right now. Worth watching. It's pretty good. Worth watching. Definitely with the kids. Um, Give it a shot. So that's it. Maleficent.